fine, I'll watch it. Yes, we will. We'll have our we'll have our Incredibles 2, Inside Out 2 review. Never. You could read it on James Kopp's Facebook.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Inside Out too.
There he is. Yes, we are here for our continued review of the Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Acolyte. We are on episode
4. Only
episode
4 of 8.
4 of 8. We're halfway there, guys. Halfway there.
Yay.
This
is a little scary because it's 3 middle-aged white dudes, and a couple of us actually like this episode. So this might be the oddity of the internet. So let's find that out.
So far. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and follow us so you can get more of this.
Wonderful commentary.
Yeah, some great stuff. Do we know the names? We've been saying the names.
No, we have not. At all? Because
this one I think was called Day. All the names are lame as shit. Just
this episode's Day.
Day.
Yeah,
Day. It's just called Day. It's called Dayo. That banana song.
Okay.
Good Lord.
I thought they were going to continue with what they did in the beginning, which is like opposite words. Like the first 2 episodes to show the twins, we're just going to give away the twin concept in the title. Just 2 words that are opposites of each other, and now it's just single words. And like, okay, I don't know what they mean. I have no idea what day has been referenced to in this episode at all.
Yeah.
So this is episode 4 of this new Star Wars show, and all I'm seeing online is absolute hatred. Everybody fucking hates this show. It's fucking garbage. It's absolute shit.
But it's funny because what they're hating it for is for the female lead and things that have nothing to do with the episode itself.
With the actual plot.
It's like, why don't you watch the episode and hate it for a different reason?
Yeah. I don't like this show yet. I still don't like this show. So but I didn't like Endor for a long time too. I still don't really like Endor. I like
you haven't
episodes
seen all of Endor, so don't even.
I've seen enough, motherfucker.
Don't even start.
Great big gray beard watching Endor, waiting for shit to happen. Well, let's go around the room. What are our overall feelings on this episode 4 of the Acolyte?
I like me a good walking film such as Lord of the Rings trilogy, where most said
we had it.
Most that trilogy just a lot of walking.
Yep.
This one wasn't very interested in terms of all that. I don't know why they're being so either overt or secretive about who Chimera is. It's just weird. Especially the way Manny Jacinto is delivering the lines on that. That's probably just how it's written and everything. But just this episode, like last episodes, has a wonderful ending. It makes you want more of that ending. And then it stops. It's like, fuck you, show, for that.
Yeah. It does seem from the trailer that they're going to pick right back up. But I have to agree with you. That's my one thing. I actually liked most of this episode, other than it ending, really, like it stopping where it stopped. I was like, you got to give me more. You got to give me more. You know, you got to give me, like from the beginning of the episode, I knew we were going to see the master, and we'll talk about that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Yeah, that was my biggest letdown. Is it feels like it keeps getting to pace and then just stopping. So. That's my big.
It might be a Kenobi thing where it's just watered down. Like Kenobi, had Kenobi been 3 hours long, we would have all loved it. And fuck it, make it 3 hours long. Like, yeah, you have less content, but you have quality content that everybody would fucking love. And for me, this episode was boring as shit.
$180 million.
No.
Yeah.
So, and it may still, but whatever.
I mean,
even if it did, you'll make it back if it's good, if people like it. Apparently, I don't know how the economics of the whole situation works anymore. So you put it in your Bitcoins, Disney Pluses, and then you got all the monies. Now let me tell you, this episode I found boring as shit. And then fucking Sithy Poppins flew in, and I was like, oh my fucking god, it's actually kind of cool. And I was like, I even like the design. Like, it wasn't the best thing ever, but it wasn't the fucking worst, and it was something new.
Mhm.
There was something else new in this episode. I got excited when something new happened. There were giant fucking bug creatures sucking on trees, and it's like, that's actually cool, because it's not member berries. It's something new. You're bringing something new to the table with the Star Wars world, which is what you should be fucking doing if you're selling us a new product. So,
especially if it's older.
especially it's in the past. Quit
Yeah.
showing us the same. Every time they show us one of those fucking green screens from episode 4, I'm like, suck my balls. You're 200 years before that. Like, show me the timeline of technology for this goddamn galaxy so I can yell at everybody. Like, no. We got clear screens 200 years ago, and everybody was like, no more. Don't advance this.
No, the Empire made everything worse. Like, literally made everything worse.
That's like, but like that was again, not this. It's like he who should not be named Lucas, but it's like episodes 1, 2, and 3 suck, and we talked about this, and we'll talk about this again. The toxic nature of the Star Wars fans, which we've always been toxic. I'm one of them. I know it. Like, if I don't like something, I'm going to let everybody know it. But it's been that way since Ewoks, and George Lucas says it's been that way since R2D2 and C3PO. So it's just one of those things. We're very passionate people, and we get very mad about this stuff. I was bored to tears by this fucking episode. Then we got to the end, and I was actually kind of excited because it was a little different, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just was, everything about it was, it didn't remind me of any one thing.
And it was big too. It was like this quote unquote master, you know, this man behind the curtain that we've had all along, didn't turn out like the wizard in the end. He turned out to be all that and then some. Like, flicks her away,
hiding in the fucking bushes, man.
And the mask design, like when you first saw it at the end of episode 1, I was like, okay, whatever. But the fact that it looks like this evil smile when that red light's not on, it's just reflecting off the glow of the lightsaber.
Also it has
cool.
It has the top Darth Vader dome, which is a nice little call out. Like, it's not great,
and
but
Revan
it is
too, actually,
good.
Going back to Knights of the Old Republic stuff. So it had a bit of a Revan feel.
So it's just like it's kind of good. All right, so yeah. We're again, I don't like this show. I'm not giving this episode too high of a rating because it's starting to get good. Motherfuckers, Sopranos just cut to black, and I was kind of like, well, you were 35 minutes, and before we got to that scene, I was like, you are padded as fuck. And then we got to that scene. I needed time.
I'm gonna skip ahead and say the next episode is gonna start with them going back to the past again, just to say, fuck you.
They better not.
We're gonna show you what else happened or supposedly happened.
Well, then show us Baddie's backstory. Yeah. Like that would be acceptable if you're like, hey,
start
how did this
his
motherfucker
backstory and then come into, but they're still keeping him mad.
Yeah, they don't.
Even though, come on,
it's Jason. It's Jason from The Good Place.
It is.
It's fucking Jason Voorhees.
No, from The Good Place. The actor that plays Chimere, the one who is with today, is
he's from that show.
Is Jason from The Good Place.
And and yeah, I mean, he's that guy. Now, I think the twist, we'll get to it, but I think the twist is that he's not the master.
No,
I think that he's probably the apprentice.
We'll throw around something. We'll talk about it later. But there's a lot of things we've thrown around about who supposedly the master is and twists and whatnot. But things we didn't like about this episode. Everything leading up to Kelnaka being found.
Yeah, so I wasn't 100% sober when I was watching this. For the record, Your Honor, so the first scene with the Jedi's and the thing, I tried to skip ahead, and I was like, oh wait, like
this is the show.
This is actually a scene that I'm like, hey.
Hey, well, we did have our little cameo from someone we know popping up.
Oh yeah.
Mundi or whatever.
Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah.
And
is that Conehead from episode 1?
It is. It says he's named in the credits as being that character.
Hey, all right.
And you know what that cameo did? That cameo meant that for the next 4 episodes, we're gonna try to somehow wipe the Sith from everybody's memory.
Yeah.
Because he's the one in Phantom Menace who said The Sith have not been seen for over 1,000 years.
Yeah, but so far
Yeah.
they've not called whatever this is. The
Oh
Sith.
no, I know they haven't, but that's why I'm just saying that we're gonna have a whole bunch of
They'll
Jedi
just
mind
never
wipes.
call it the Sith. I think
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what they will.
Man, I was just kind of when we have these sort of slow down episodes, which is dangerous in Star Wars, because as we talked about last week, Star Wars is not known for great dialogue. If you've got some great dialogue that would fit in the Star Wars world out there, writers, we would all like some.
It's called Andor, James.
Andor.
It's called
Andor
Andor,
is where
James, and
that's
you don't
at.
want to watch it.
Oh God damn it, God! Oh man. So we got the slowdown where we can kind of develop our characters a little bit, but there was no scene that stuck out that really grabbed me. There was no performance that really grabbed me. So I was just kind of like watching them go through the motions till we got to it. And then when we get to fucking the other bad thing that I hated was like we got to the Wookiee and he's fucking dead.
Dead.
Like it's the whole
I was disappointed, as I said.
I
last
was like,
week,
it's Kill Bill and Bill's dead when you get there. You can't do that, man. Like you can't have a whole episode going. You fucking Wally World us. Like we got there and there's no fucking Wally World, and it was just like, all right. And so I was like, what a piece of shit episode. And then it was like, he's here, and I was like, oh, if it cuts to black right now, you can suck my balls. And no, fucking, and we'll get into that. Like,
yeah, they gave him 2 moves.
No, it didn't cut to black. It cut to something more interesting, and then it cut to black.
and then it cut to black. But it was.
I don't know what I'm more upset at that they didn't end the episode before.
The one thing that I had an issue with was May's turn. May's turn seemed abrupt. I didn't, that seemed like a twist that you should have left some groundwork for ahead of time. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't really see her switching over.
I don't want to be evil anymore.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, well, now
Okay.
Osha's here and everything matters. And I feel like that's one of those things will probably get answered in her little flashback, whatever thing. But I don't know that was the best way to do that.
There's a lot of things. Like, man, they like the Jedi Council brings up like images of the 3 Jedis that are being hunted, but not the 4th one. And it was like,
Because
I know you're doing this for.
The 4th one's standing there right there in that room.
I got that, but like, so what? You have a display that only shows 3 heads at a time or some shit. There are 4 involved. Like, it's like, I was more annoyed by that because she was like, "You're a part of it. Why isn't his head floating there, bitch? Like,
No,
what are we doing?"
What should have been done? What should have been done is he should have been lined up in line with the rest of them in that shot.
There you go. So that's if it's a Dan Schneider production. That's what you get. That's what you get. You get quality.
Mhm. Every day.
But
Quality
every
and
day,
quantity.
man. Every day until justice is had. So justice
Putting in hard time with these kids every day to make sure they learn.
Release the Schneider cut. Yeah.
There it
Oh
is.
man.
The Dan Schneider saber training class.
I did like. I liked the saber training, like the upgraded one. The funny thing is, a lot of people have asked why do the little tiny kids get the lightsabers and these guys have to use the wood swords? But
That's because it's 100 years later. It's like, fuck it, we're gonna train on real things.
Okay.
If they die, they die.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, they could turn them down.
They watched Rocky 4. With that philosophy.
And there was like her willingness to just kind of switch, decide not to be evil after you've already killed a couple of people.
Yeah.
And it just her motivation, and we had no conversation with her and the other guy, and the other guy's the big baddie, right? And it's like we didn't have any conversation with them about like where we saw what needed to be said or done, where it was like, oh shit, now we totally understand this character.
Yeah. Well, she just kind of blurts it out after she tricks him. She was like, well, Osha being alive means everything. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, she does give a shit about her sister a lot, but I mean, I don't even know that I knew that she didn't know she was alive and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I was like, we know Osha knew May wasn't alive because everybody was telling her the
but I don't
entire
know
time that
I
May
knew
wasn't
the
alive.
flip side of that. I didn't know that May
Thought Osha
thought
wasn't
Osha
alive.
was dead.
I don't know.
So,
Things that were, decent things that were established in this, but like buried under all the other boring and everything else like that. is I understood why they did the saber training bit at the beginning, and that's because at the end, when all the Jedi light their lightsabers and immediately charge, goes completely against what they were teaching the kids in the beginning.
Yep. That's how.
And-
But we've joked about that the whole
Yeah.
since the beginning. Go back and watch 4, 5, and 6. The Jedi throws the first fucking punch in every. It's like one fight they don't, but in every other fight, it's the light side that's like going first.
Let me tell you something
I
right
don't-
now. If they do this, I just thought about this. If they go back, because it's a twin thing, and you kind of are going, from OSHA's point of view, mainly in this first part. If they flip to the first episode straight from May's point of view and redo these fucking episodes leading up to the fight at the end, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed off.
That's what I'm saying. I have a feeling we're not going to start immediately with the continuation of the fight. Next episode.
And again, if it's good, if you do it well, no one will give a shit. But if you haven't done a lot well in this series so far,
I don't
so
think that you're lending yourself any favors by slowing the fucking storyline down at this point. You know what I mean? Like you're definitely better off by ramping the shit up and taking us somewhere.
yeah, you just had a good villain reveal. Like I think it's a solid sort of moment. So it's like go into this and just explore it as much as you can. Hopefully moving forward. Yeah.
I don't. The other big thing is like it basically straight up said that OSHA is the more important one than May.
Well,
because her untapped ability to use the Force and to sense things and everything else like that. So.
Well, I think it's interesting as well. Something that I saw some Easter egg video talking about. They have never showed OSHA's part of her forehead where that little thing would be, and that can't be on accident.
Yeah.
You know
okay.
what I mean? So there's still, I still am not totally away from the theory that she might be force projecting herself, that there might not be two. May have really died, or vice versa.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
that could be kind of
And
interesting.
I think
that
that's
could be a
very
fun thing to
interesting.
explore.
Did she have?
Yeah.
Did she have the symbol when she was a kid?
She did not.
Okay.
But that would again lead me to maybe OSHA was really the one that died, or you know what I mean, or some sort of, But yeah, they've never shown her head since afterwards.
Well, the other thing too though is that she also never went through the ceremony.
Yeah, she left right before it.
Well, it was interrupted.
Well, but OSHA did, but May.
No,
didn't.
May went through the ceremony.
Right.
No, May went through the ceremony.
No, I
OSHA
know.
did not. Yeah.
Correct. But what I'm saying is it could be the opposite. They could be throwing you a thing where we think this whole time it was May that died, but for some reason they're saying OSHA's May or some shit,
Maybe we'll find out. Jesse's showing us all the images of that right now. Maybe we'll find out next episode. Maybe we'll find out anything next episode.
Yeah, I feel like we're not finding out anything real cool until episode 7.
You know, it was a fun reminder. They had a huge scene with the guy from Squid Games. English is a second language for him, and he's got like a pretty good monologue scene in this. And I was like, man, he sounds just like the guy from the Trade Federation. And then I was like, oh yeah, Star Wars is really effing racist. Like we just forget that sometimes. So we'll get there, everybody.
We tried to fix the racism of the Trade Federation in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Which
let's go with that.
Which just means that they get more racist as time goes on.
Yeah, as it goes along.
Like, that's the worst direction to fix that racism.
They moved to the east side of the galaxy, eastern side of the galaxy.
However, if you ever want to talk to some real crazy racism, you got to talk to the Asian racists. Like the Asian races are the best, the most delightful racists in all the galaxies. I think so. That's nice.
Yeah, very nice.
There you
So
all right, so let's talk about what we did like. Before we get to the ending, I liked the bugs.
I liked the bugs.
It's something different. Give me something different. Star Wars was always something new. Everything. Oh, they barely made it by the skin of their teeth every time. From a new monster, from a new this, from a new that. Use your imaginations, your writers, right? Like write something that's interesting. And guess what? We fucking got it. It happened at minute 20 in this 35-minute episode, but at minute 20, something interesting showed up. And it
And we got
was
to see a lightsaber
Dirty Bugs.
fucking slice a bug in half, and you want to see him pop those lightsabers and fucking kill some shit.
Yeah.
You want to see some force powers. This
Yeah,
you want to see.
and the idea that the bugs would be attracted to the light, I was like, oh, this is gonna pay off
I say
big. And
it's
it was
a
like,
Chekhov's gun.
Mhm.
It's a Chekhov's gun for the fight they're
totally.
gonna have against the mass singer.
yeah, when all the
Yeah,
fucking bugs are
exactly.
gonna go crazy
Yeah.
for it. And it's like, so that's I'm excited to see that. That sounds like
That's
it'll
what
be
that's
cool
why
and
everybody's gonna
interesting.
talk about. It's gonna be CGI bugs masking the view of anything that's going on.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fucking Mothmen.
I did like seeing
All right.
all the fucking lightsabers. I liked seeing, because one had the dual, another one was
Mhm.
dual wielding. I like the variety in the lightsabers too. I like to see that shit. I
Yeah.
like to see the different colors. You got the yellow ones in there too. Great.
Yeah.
I love
It was very 70s. Like, this is obviously another age. Everybody was into orange at the time. Like, everybody's fucking
Bundles.
lightsabers yellow or orange, and so it was like
the yellow orange saber was supposed to be for like temple guards. Like
it's
Jedi who went through the academy but got relegated down to just temple guards.
Back in the Knights of the Old Republic time, the yellow ones were the Sentinels, which is what those guards were called too later. But they tended to be more like the more the politician type. Like they went and they were always like talking. They had the more charm stuff. So.
Yeah. So, was there anything else we really liked about this? I guess let's go into the villain, because that was the standout thing of the whole entire episode, at least for me.
Yeah, I agree. I I thought it was a great presentation, just like we said. I thought the style with the outfit and everything was great. I do, again, just because I like to see more variety of the fucking lightsabers. I wish you would have had a more standout lightsaber in some way.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? You got, the first time Vader popped that red lightsaber, it's iconic. But, then when Kylo Ren, you know what I mean, had the fucking one, different one, that was really cool too. There's a lot of different designs. I would have liked, Darth Maul with his two.
Exactly. Again, imagination. Give us something new in the Star Wars world. Give us something cool. Go like, oh, that's a clever idea. The dual lightsaber blew us all away. We had no idea there could even be a dual lightsaber. And it's like, doing stuff like that opens up your world and allows you to do more fucking lame ass TV shows you're going to sell us. So let's open it up a bit.
The reason I'm fine with the lightsaber being just a basic, simple red lightsaber is because it's the one instance in this series so far where they understood that this takes place before everything else we've seen. If we get some fancy red lights, fancy lightsaber from this villain, then why does nobody else have fancy stuff going forward?
Yeah, but they didn't have them in the fucking prequels either. They had green and blue ones. That was it.
Yeah. But go look at the cars of the 1950s and 60s, and then go look at a 90, a Honda Civic from 1990. Like, things change. It doesn't necessarily mean more fancy or more anything.
Just different.
I'm okay with the solid. I get the idea of playing it safe if you're going to do a bunch of crazy things with your villain, but it would have been nice to see something cool. Like, having said that, I totally dug his outfit. I really dug the slenderness of it, the like creepy sort of horror movie killer that we have with him, and I kind of dug it. Like all the little things on him that kind of were nods to other stuff we've already seen, but in a new light. And that is what Star Wars is great. Taking a bunch of old shit and patching it together to make something new.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you want something new. Jedi and Force users can't fly. They can extend their movement with the Force, but they can't fly. This motherfucker flew in, like just glided slowly in behind Osha. That was fucking badass. It's like,
it was great. But after Jedi's could heal people and Anakin can't heal his fucking can't jerk off like ever again, like that's when I
Bro, he
was done
didn't
with the
step
powers.
into healing, all
Yeah.
right?
We've discussed this.
Yeah,
And
right.
he doesn't have enough play to win gold to be able to respect, so
EA is
he's
blocking
gotta
him.
play his
EA is
cards as
blocking
they
him
lie,
from doing
you
it.
know? That's how it goes.
A lot less people ask him to help move, you know. So it's like there are advantages. There are advantages to not having legs or arms.
Also,
It's,
healing is more of a light side power, anyways. And Anakin never really was
That's
a full
true.
light side user.
Yeah, not so
It's
much.
just the idea that like we keep adding more powers to what the Force was, and so
You have to.
which
You have to D&D your Jedi as
have
much as
to.
you can, James.
Because it's already been done. It's not even because
Yeah.
you have to do it. It's because it's been done in countless video games and tabletop RPGs and comic books and legend shit. You've seen all these things in that. If you were a big fan, you read all that shit.
Yeah.
So when you see it, you're just like, fucking A, that's badass. It's badass that they did that. You know what I mean?
It just as we give it more and more powers, I'm okay with like, oh, this motherfucker can float down. Who gives a shit, right? Like forcey force is how it works.
I'm saying I enjoyed it, but I would just point out that is the something new for this character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't even think that it matters that it's old or new, because the way that it's told, the way the story's told is like it's a huge downfall. Like there's a huge downfall. The Jedi are lost. The Force is lost to the universe for X amount of years. So of course, you know what I mean? Those things. And then even before that, when Anakin was supposed to have learned all these things, you know what I mean? Like it was the Jedi had become stagnant. They had become, just this just shell of a thing that just basically worked for the fucking Senate, and and just it had become just pawns in a way.
Yeah.
There was no things that when they talk about in the High Republic and in the Knights of the Old Republic, there's a big thing about these wayfinders, and they believe that at a certain point you were such a good Jedi that you would go and you would just follow the Force, whatever the Force told you to do. You didn't need a council.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even what's her name, Vernestra, in this says, "Hey, we don't want to say this shit because then the council is going to have to talk to the Senate, and then
we're all dissolved."
It's like she's more aware of what actually ends up happening in the prequels than anybody else in this show so far. And and so there was in the High Republic too. Like some of the Jedis, they would use the dark side. There wasn't Sith around though, but like there was still the dark side. But they were still like redeemable. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were just cast aside and stuff like that. So
well, other things on Force powers you do and don't see throughout the course of the movies too is you have. I mean, looking back at the movies, Attack of the Clones, the beginning of the Clone War on Genosha, is the only time we ever see a large group of Jedi fighting at one time together. Because after that point, Jedis are assigned to units as their commanders.
Yeah. Conveniently enough that would be able to kill them.
Yeah, but you can't. But as the general or leader of that command unit, you can't spend your time healing the rest of the units. So that's why they never have anything like that going on. They have somebody assigned as a medic within the unit itself. But doesn't mean that they don't have those powers. They just aren't going to have any reason to show them.
I think what James has a point though is there's a real weird disconnect where it's like, can anybody learn any of these powers, or like a monk or something that trains forever? Or
the more they take people's blood, yes.
Or is it more like you may have the Force, but you got this kind of the Force, and these are things that more like a wizard school or something like that you're in.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a long time. Fucking episode 1, we get introduced into the speed running.
Awesome.
That these motherfuckers start doing at the beginning of the movie, and then
awesome.
And then when the doors are shutting, fucking nobody knows how to speed run anymore. Like it was like fucking literally pick a lane. Obi-Wan could like it.
He's out of mana.
See, as much as I didn't care for this
midichlorians were low.
As much as I didn't care for this episode, it actually established that precedent in this episode.
What?
Wave Haircut had that comment that the reason he understands the person they hired as the tracker is because he spent his time learning that, while everybody else who's a Jedi spent their time learning these other languages.
Yeah.
So it is a thing that all these Force things exist, and certain people can choose to establish and specialize and everything like that. So
yeah, I think it's kind of to me it seems like it's a bit of both. You know what I mean? You
it
choose
is.
to specialize, but you also those people who do tend to excel in that area already. You know, have some natural inclination to it. You know what I mean?
Or some of these writers are not that great,
I
and they just
mean,
keep slapping
I
shit
mean,
onto
yes.
characters and
That is
not
also
thinking
true.
about shit before they release it.
Two
So
things can be true at the same time.
yes, they
Darth
can.
Ginger.
I was just gonna say that. So that's fucking.
They
perfect.
rolled the specs on every character. And sure, let's go with that.
For sure.
Oh man. This was the better episode out of the 4 I've watched so far. I haven't liked any of these. I did like this one for the guy from Squid Games. Like had some moments where I was kind of like, all right, cool. And then I was bored to tears. And then when we saw the dead Wookiee, I was like, man, fuck Christensen. Like I don't need to watch this. And so
my statement
was
was still true. I said it's an episode. It's not as bad as
It is an
not as bad as
episode,
Secret
and,
Invasion episode, but it's just it's an episode.
I love that there might be a whole generation out there that Secret Invasion is going to be like their cop rock.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be that thing that's the worst fucking thing that happened. It's the Chevy Chase talk show. You know, it's perfect. God damn it. I love you, Secret Invasion. I love you. You make us all look good.
Look, the Marvel still has fucking the Inhumans under their belt, so.
That's true. Inhumans was fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. sucked.
It did not.
I don't care.
Agents of
I
S.H.I.E.L.D.
do not care what anybody
was
says.
as bad at its worst as Secret Invasion.
Nothing was as bad as Cop Rock. Sledgehammer, Bakersfield PD, all better than Cop Rock. Hey, there's a level, and I'm just glad that Secret Invasion is our new Cop Rock. It's so beautiful. It's so perfect.
Okay, so should we rate this bitch then?
Sure.
Yeah.
Talk about possible future things. I gave 3.5 last week.
Do we want to talk about what we hope is next? How about what we hope is next and what we think is going to happen
after the
next?
ratings? I'm giving this a 3. I think I gave last episode 3.5. I gave it more of a pass, and I'm going to give this episode because again, the ending is what I wanted, and the rest of it's just a bunch of. I think the worst part to me is it went straight into
3 out of 7.
3 out of 7. It went straight into the old Star Wars stuff of acting, where it's like, hey, this is a junior high production of something where two characters are delivering dialogue to each other.
A junior high production.
Two characters are delivering dialogue to each other. We're going to have this very awkward pause at the end and then our wipe into the next scene. It's like,
oh, man.
It's classic Star Wars, but that was in the 70s. We don't need that anymore. Do something better.
I hate this show, and I'm going to give it a higher score than you. And I'm going to give it a 4 because I bitch about a lot. And one of the things I bitch about is show me something new. I saw 2 new things in this, and it was only 35 minutes long. Yes, it took us 2 hours to get here. And you got good and then cut to Black Sopranos.
Oh, we forgot to talk about a little Beaver character, too, throughout this. You can give a shit about the little Beaver
good God. Like, it's just
the little Beaver character whose race is a lot better than what they relegated him to. That's Jedi racism right there.
What is his pronoun?
They.
He was a they?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a they. That's adorable.
They did get pronouns. But
like Indiana Jones, he doesn't increase the plot at all. He is not cute or cuddly. He is not interesting. Congratulations, everybody!
The fun part, though, again, in Star Wars canon, that race is a lot. That race is a lot smarter than what they relegated this character to. I was like, really? he looks like a sniffing animal. We're gonna racist cast him as the tracker.
James gave it a 4, Jesse.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm giving it a shockingly 4 because it's
You-
I liked the fucking Mothman attacking them, and I liked fucking the bad guys showing up. I was like, oh wow, this is kind of good.
so,
It was 35 minutes long, so it's not that long.
Wasn't-
But I'm
wasn't
telling
it-
you right now,
that's if you watch the credits. It wasn't that long. It wasn't even that long.
it's not even the exactly.
Yeah.
That's with credits. That's like you're moving 9 minutes, so it's like I was bored for a long time. There was nothing interesting happen. There are those that will say there was character building. I would argue, was there? It was just stuff that was happening, and then we got to the ending, and something that it actually kind of got cool.
So James,
thought.
James, what you're saying basically is that from your base score of 2, for each new thing, you're giving it 1 more.
Fuck, man, that's the
it.
world we live in. Like everything sucks so bad. I
That's
saw
what we
Inside Out 2, and it's this, and that blew me away because it had 2 concepts in it that were pretty good, and I was like, "Fuck it!"
Wow.
You
Money
know
well
how many
spent.
Exorcist movies have come out last year and this year?
Yes.
Everything's possessed. Everything is fucking possessed. The Pope's possessed. Linda Blair's possessed
Again?
for the 3rd fucking time, or the 4th. I don't know. It's like there's
4th.
a constant possession. Fucking Russell Crowe is in 3 Exorcist films, 2 Pope ones, and then a 3rd offshoot something else. So yeah, seeing anything new, but fucking Mothman bugs being attracted to lightsabers, I got excited. I was like, oh, are we gonna see something? Like, yeah, you saying the Chekhov gun? Yeah, it was like it was a good setup and it was interesting. It was new, and then the bad guy showed up. We got that Darth Vader sort of dome, that quiet sort of attitude. Motherfucker, Mary Poppins floats in, and everybody fucking pull every. And
Brew OSHA with 2 fingers.
Yeah, and it was like everybody fucking draws their guns. I was like, oh shit, we're in the middle of a shootout. Like this is gonna be awesome. And then they showed us 2 to 3 minutes of the shootout, and then they stopped, and it was like. Can you imagine if Unforgiven, if we got Clint Eastwood like busting in the door and like, who owns this shithole? Cut to black, you know? It's
Movie's over.
like, it's like you just got fucking good, god damn it, and the internet hates you. The internet hates you, motherfucker. Because I watch Star Wars, so the algorithm on my phone is like, oh, you want to hear from other people about Star Wars? No one we are the only middle-aged white guys that like this show.
100%. I'm gonna go
And,
even more, and I'm gonna give it a 5.
You start knocking our fucking socks off, and you almost did with the end, but you didn't. Yeah. All right, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I have really kind of the same complaint, but I did enjoy more of the journey to get to where we got to. I just was really, I'm getting real over the, just the pump and the brakes all the time. I have a real problem, like you said, with this show just not coming out all at once, or or in a smaller amount of episodes, miniseries. Again, do a fucking miniseries. What happened to the miniseries? 3 hour and a half long episodes.
Totally.
You could have done
We don't need 8 seasons of fucking Agatha, like we don't. One could argue we don't need multiple seasons of Loki. Like there were moments in season 2, but it's like, have somebody write a badass fucking story and release a miniseries, and then in a couple years, if somebody else shows up with another amazing fucking new miniseries part 2, like fucking write a new chapter of like storytelling in the streaming service, and you would do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Kenobi has 2 to 3 hours of amazing fucking footage. It's 8 episodes long, 8 hours long. Nobody remembers it. Nobody talks about it except for those scenes.
And
you know,
and you can go find that cut, because somebody actually did make a cut of that show.
And it's like, do that. Be brave. I know, man, you did Werewolf at Night. Like, who was that for? Except like people that were interested in some weird shit. All of the millennials are fucking still talking about like shit like Over the Garden Wall. Old guys like us are still talking about the Venture Brothers. It's spend some time just focusing on giving us some good, solid content, and then it doesn't need to have a second or third season right away.
No.
You know,
or at all. It could just be another. If you do good by the characters, the thing that you have is, in it, or potential that you have in Star Wars or in any of these worlds, these IPs that you bought, is to create great characters that are in a great story. And if your story is great and your characters are great, your characters can show up in a different story that you or someone else could write. Who gives a shit? It could be a slightly different version of them. It doesn't have to be all canon. Who knows? You know what I mean? You could do a lot of things. If you want to do that with Star Wars, cool. But give your characters a good story to be in, because otherwise you're not gaining anything from that. Because Ahsoka show does not make me want to see more of Ahsoka. Like the Clone Wars ending with Ahsoka made me want to see more Ahsoka, enough so that I was excited for that show to come out. I was excited for her to show up in The Mandalorian, and her performance in The Mandalorian made me excited enough to go to the Ahsoka. But guess what the fucking Ahsoka show did? Not make me give a shit about seeing more Ahsoka. Which, there's your biggest flaw right there. And if you're not going to do that, don't call your show Ahsoka.
She had moments, motherfucker, when she walked out onto that spaceship, fucking Breaking Bad and shit, not in her underwear, maybe in my head, but it doesn't matter. And she fucking pulled out a lightsaber. I was like, God damn. Like, I don't even care for that character, but I was like, you clearly have 2 or 3 hours. And there's a couple things I want to say here before we end up. One, I'm drunk. Go ahead. And one, the Star Wars fandom has always been toxic. Yes. It's like saying water is wet. Like, I was a kid and I liked the Ewoks and I can make a good defense to defend the Ewoks, but all through high school, God, me and Lieber Mayho once got in like a shouting match about the fucking Ewoks because I liked him and he was like, it's the worst thing that ever happened in my childhood. And it was like, we were like arguing about the importance of the Ewoks. I was like, the idea that they are a goof and they take down the Empire on home field advantage is like, that's to me as a kid, that was super important to the Star Wars lore. And
they released 2 made-for-TV movies.
That's right.
Exactly. That are fucking not as bad as the holidays.
Not as bad, but
still
working hard to be.
But as boring as what we did. But as boring as what we just watched.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Much more.
So, and then we get to episodes 1, 2, and 3. We get to the special editions in the 90s. A lot of us were pissed off. This is bullshit. We get to the fucking. So it is not misogyny. It is not sexism. It has always been the fan base for this IP that you bought has been toxic since the beginning. And I look at it as like, oh, it should change. No. Water is wet. Eggs is eggs. And the Star Wars fans are going to be fucking annoyed about what the content they're getting. That's just what it's going to be. So, one, we move past that. If you're going to make Star Wars content, half the people are going to hate it. And there's going to be a group that loves it. And give it time. You might Jar Jar Binks us, where it's like people will eventually be okay with you.
Well, the prequels have made a big resurgence in the last few years.
Oh, fucking the prequels are horrible, and like people are like, actually, I quite like them now, and it's like, all right, whatever. And so that's the thing. Is like
I watched episode 1 on Star Wars Day because commemorating the fact they released it in theaters, and is like, you know what? Still didn't care for most of it. Still didn't care for most of it.
The first one might be the better one, really. The other ones, I don't know, man.
I like three. I like 3 out of.
The first one might be the best one because of Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn.
That ending,
honestly.
the last
and the pod racer races. The pod racers were awesome. Even
they were, but it went on.
It was something
that
new.
Went on too long.
It was something new.
It was cool, but then it was like 20 minutes of the fucking pod race, and I was like.
Yeah, but when the goddamn fucking sand people are at the top of the shit, and you got fucking Greg Proops as one of the guys. And fucking,
we got a cool video game out of it.
Yeah, a real cool video.
I dug, and it was fucking. That's a banger video game. That's actually pretty good. But I actually really dug episode 3. I dug hearing Sith mythology. I dug hearing seeing the seduction of it. Like there were things in episode 3 that made me go like, oh, it didn't happen the way I thought it happened in my head, but how it happened wasn't bad.
No,
It was very.
3 is definitely 3 is my second and a close second out of that trilogy. 2 is just god awful. Though.
Yeah,
2 is absolutely. The
It's
worst.
unwatchable. It's unwatchable. Like they try to save it with a big fight at the ending, like you said. It's the only time we have all the Jedi's busting out, but it's like so fucking comically boring.
And
That,
the worst dialogue of any Star Wars property.
And the,
as
pretty
much as
well.
we
the
attack
least
anybody
chemistry
that's writing
between
on
two
this
people
show,
you're trying to
Yeah.
fucking, ship, you could ever fucking see, So
3's biggest problem doesn't even exist in the movie. It exists if you listen to the commentary. And that is, James knows because he was with me. In the comment,
because me and you were watching it together with
Yeah.
the commentary, because that's what kind of sad
Yeah.
fucks we are. We watch the movie, and then we're like, better turn on that commentary track
hear
and
what
watch
they have
that.
to say. Because most of the time, commentary is decent,
And
fun
then
things to hear about.
we got to the end, and I did one of these because we couldn't believe what we just fucking saw. My eyes popped out of my head.
The scene of Obi-Wan Kenobi picking up his lightsaber was a post-production scene because they admitted in the commentary they forgot that was a thing from episode 4.
They just forgot to shoot like one of the most important connections to the fucking trilogy that's actually good, And,
Wow.
it's
Yep.
like we talk about this every now and again, and I will die on this hill. Episode 8 would have been everybody's favorite if it was episode 10. If they let the J.J. Abrams type just do a reboot storytelling, and then you brought somebody in on episode 10 is like, I'm gonna fucking throw everything away and try to start new. I think all of us would have been like, fucking A,
Yeah.
bro.
100%.
But the reason why episode 8 gets so much hate is episode 7 was like, we're going back to we're playing your classic hits. Who's ready for a bigger Death Star and Han Solo and a death of the elder hero, and then somebody from an unknown sand planet is gonna do a good thing? Is like I left The Force Awakens going like, that kind of sucked. I liked BB-8. That was the only thing I was like, that's new. Like BB-8, it's a round droid. I hadn't seen that before. I was excited for BB-8. And the rest of it was fine. I really did like the new people. I liked Rey. I liked Finn. Dude, God, I thought Finn is $1 million idea. He's us in Star Wars. Finn is us in Star Wars. Like, if we just woke up in Star Wars one day and be like, okay, I need to get the fuck. I'm obviously on the wrong side.
Fuck, are we the bad guys here? God damn it.
Are we the baddies? And so him getting like, Finn is brilliant, and Finn got kind of fucked it a little bit in episode 8, and
Definitely.
yeah, he got more of a redeem in episode 9, but so the Star Wars toxic fans have kind of always been there, but it's also kind of on the Star Wars IP of knowing, like, one, that is the fandom, you bought it, you want to sell it, that people have had fucking George Lucas in a Vanity Fair for episode 1. I never forget this quote. I think about it all the time, which is they were like, what do you say people that think Jar Jar is too stupid? And he was like, you know what? They hated Yoda. They hated the Ewoks. They hated R2-D2, C-3PO. If you don't like me and my stupid Muppets, go watch The Matrix again and leave me the F alone. And I was just like, that's like and I know I'm adding Jamesisms to it, but that's fucking pretty solid, his quote from Vanity Fair. So it's been around for forever that people are going to have problem with your product.
And when it was just one person, it was easy to have that interview and he'd be like, I don't give a fuck, and move on.
I don't give a fuck. But it's everybody that's coming to this ship needs to understand that, I think, going forward. But
Agreed.
You got some good stuff here, man. And like Kenobi had some good stuff. And The Mandalorian so far has had the best of the good stuff.
They've had bad stuff too, but they've had the best of.
What do we think is going to happen moving on from this?
Well, we're obviously getting the rest of whatever happened on Osha's home planet.
Sure.
I really can't see how this series ends.
No, I mean,
but that's kind of a cool thing, right?
It is, if it wasn't the fact that so many Star Wars shows didn't have an ending.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
that great
because
of
that
an
was
ending.
one of my problems with Ahsoka. Again, like that was just like a, all right, the game's on.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next whatever series. Where I would like to see some sort, again, you like tell me a contained story. The characters can move on, but give me a
or take
story.
big swings, you know, take big swings. Go, I'm a broken record, but go Venture Brothers with it. Take big, like fucking kill the Venture Brothers, like fucking just take a big swing and find yourself in a new world and see what you come up with.
I mean, this is a show about the bad
that-
guys. You know, let the bad guys win.
I
Yeah,
would be
totally.
fine with the show ending with Osha turning more towards the dark side and killing Soul for whatever was done.
And going with the master, and maybe at the very end they teased that that's really the apprentice to fucking Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
That would be a very satisfying ending. Because it would be something, again, that we've not seen. Well, I mean, I guess actually, though we have seen, it would be very good with Star Wars because it's very reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back, where it's just like, hey, yeah, shit ain't good at the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know,
Here's the
down
people that are
story.
still alive. Shit's not good.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. You know what I mean?
And a downer story every now and again is good in your storytelling. Like, kind of, what I think is going to happen in the next 4 episodes is a bunch of padding with a couple of good ideas and a couple of good scenes, which sucks. What I hope happens in the next couple episodes is that they take some big risks and they go all out. You want to, if you're not going to cut right back to the bad guy, then give us the bad guy's story. Let's see the bad guy fucking fully fleshed out. Let's see the first baby he killed, whatever. Like, give us something that is new and interesting. You've done it a couple times. Acolyte, whatever the fuck, the Roger, whatever the fuck the name of this show is. Like there have been moments in the show you're getting so much hate online. Show them up. Like show us something badass, and that would be really cool.
Only because I've never seen it from the actor. Chimera eventually being revealed as the antagonist here. It's like there's nothing in his personality that I've ever seen him be a truly evil person. So his take on that's going to be interesting if and when they ever reveal that.
And it might be the opportunity, man. Like, you know, it might be that you never know an actor has it until like Heath Ledger got cast as the Joker, and I was like the guy from 10 Ways I Hate About You or whatever the fuck that shit is. Tale. Yeah. And I was like, fuck that. That's going to suck. And then we go and watch it. It's like, all right.
I was literally the only one out of our group that said, I like this casting.
I know. You were like, hey, you're like, no, he's kind of a good actor. And I was like, fucking shut the fuck up. And it's like, you go, why?
Right,
you saw him in some teeny bopper thing you like.
Thornton, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. That was the one that made me.
Well, and that was the thing. Like going into the Dark Knight, the Joker. God, there were like so many times in that movie where I was like, I'm going to hate the Joker. As soon as he said, "How do you want to know how I got these scars?" And I was like, God damn it, they're giving him a backstory. They're doing all this shit. They're going to fuck him up. And then, like, as we all know now, like, oh, that was a fucking joke. Yeah. I was just like, God damn it, you guys fucking, you did it right. So going for those bold swings, going for something new that we haven't seen, I really hope we kind of see that with this show. We got 4 episodes left. That's like, what, 30 to 40 minutes each episode?
About 2 hours.
So we think about
2 hours. Well, they promised us in one of the trailers the lightsaber whip, so you'll get that
I've
too.
Seen it a few times. I'm ready. Also, we're gonna see that Wookiee fight, Tom and
in the past.
So, in the past. So we'll get some stuff. We got some stuff.
I will say, I mean, going back to the whole concept of this should have all released at once. If you're not gonna release it at once, fucking put the first 4 episodes, and this is a fine ending to the first half of the show.
Sure.
Not as 4 individual episodes, as a full first half of the show. This ending was a good ending for that run.
We all would have I think a lot of people online would have defended the show more had they gotten like some of the stuff you gave us in this last episode, because you really haven't done much of anything. Yeah. You've been V for Vendetta. something
there was
horrible
enough
happened in the
after
past.
episode 2 and 3 to make you, I think, if you had 3 and 4 available, to go,
Yeah.
all right, let's
Yeah.
watch the next one.
Let's
Like,
finish
you
this
got
series.
me at the end.
Yeah.
Let's watch the next one. Whether you made it through the
Yeah,
next episode.
But this is very hard to watch week to week now because your pacing on the episode leading up to the ending of each episode is not.
Well, luckily,
great.
House of Dragons and The Boys is all on right now too, so
Fair enough.
I don't have to rely on this solely.
Oh, we also are we moving on from Star Wars now?
Yes, move on.
So we also have had another date reveal today,
Okay.
or time
Right.
frame. Penguin drops in September on Max.
Okay.
Oh,
The
okay.
Penguin series. They have a full trailer
Yeah.
for that out now.
All
So
right.
that looks.
The Penguins. I think the Penguin series is kind of like getting a weird gift at Christmas from that friend you didn't know was going to get you a gift. Like, it's like,
Oh,
okay, I don't think we need a Penguin series.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks we do. I hope it's good.
Here's what I liked from the trailer. It literally picks up after the end of the Batman.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the flood and everything that happens in Gotham is the
Yeah.
and Falcone being killed is the impetus for it moving forward.
All right.
Okay.
So if they
I
keep
thought
that
it was supposed to be a prequel.
no,
Oh, okay.
nope,
interesting.
it
That's
takes
way more
it
interesting then.
it continues directly on from the end of the Batman.
I
And
didn't-
probably for storytelling, they go back and forth and shit because, like, what do you do with the Penguin?
It really doesn't look like they're doing it though. It looks like they are just continuing.
Huh.
The Penguin's taking over Falcone's crime empire. So in this universe, Falcone is dead.
Okay.
The Penguin's taking over it, so he's been eliminated. Maroni is brought into it. They have Clancy Brown.
All right.
I'm not sure which character he plays, but they have Clancy Brown.
I
so-
don't really care about this Batman universe nor that Batman movie. I don't.
That's fair. I
It's
mean,
okay.
and you've said that before. It's fair. I'm saying that's not coming out in September. It's been dated.
Yeah, the Batman movie reminded me. I think one of you guys said it, or maybe my older brother said it. It felt like one of the Batman video games,
It did.
where it's just like there's 50 villains in it. It's not really about them. It's about him and overcoming one big obstacle with one of the villains. And yeah, it did. It felt like a Batman video game. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't necessarily good. It wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't anything super. Like, if I was to show somebody, if like, hey, you can only show somebody 3 Batman movies, the Batman would not be in that 3.
No.
You know?
No.
If it's a Batman video game, it was Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
yeah,
something.
totally.
If I was going to show screen footage of Batman doing Batman shit, I would fucking show Ben Affleck in fucking some of those movies. Those are not great movies,
Those are not Batman movies.
but they are fucking. They show Batman doing some shit you always wanted to see him do on screen.
Yes.
Like he looking
Yeah.
like a superhero. You know,
Yeah.
like I like the grounded shit. That's fine and everything, but he's still fucking super. He's got to be able to stand up with Superman, Wonder Woman, and shit. Like I want to. Like he's got to be a normal man, but to anyone's eye, he would never seem like one.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
would seem
and-
like he could stand with gods, just like the rest of them are.
And I know Whedon was like punching everybody in the face when they were filming the Justice League reshoots, but one of my favorite like Batman stories is Josh Whedon's Justice League, where it's kind of like I know it's rough, but it's him talking to the Flash about saving one person. I love when like he gets his ass kicked by Superman and you just see him kind of getting. It's such a Whedon shot
Yeah.
of like Batman getting up pathetically off the ground, like God damn it, I am in my 50s or 40s. I cannot do this shit anymore. It's just like such a great beaten down moment, but that's like the real that we don't get to see that often. So yeah, the Batman is not bad. It's not great. I hope it gets great. Or I don't know. I do.
Penguin's great.
we got the Penguin series to serve as an interlude between
Yeah.
Batman and the Batman 2.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
And since we don't talk about video games much, we'll bring it up. Nintendo Direct this past week with a new Zelda game, James.
What's the new Zelda game?
Echoes of Wisdom, where you
have
play as Zelda. The full game is played as Zelda.
Yeah,
For the Switch?
it's very
Yep.
much done in
Comes out in
A Link
September.
to
Is there a trailer?
Oh yeah, comes out the end of September.
I'm watching this after this. What?
It very much looks like a Link to the Past.
Stealthiest Zelda production of a game ever.
It looks so.
Yeah.
It looks like Link to the Past.
Well, they use the art style from the remake of Link's Awakening.
Okay.
The Switch remake.
Where it
Link's
kind of
Awakening.
has that kind of like cartoony
Mhm,
sort of
mhm.
look, but I don't know. I'll check it out.
You'll
Any of those
I'll check
side
it out.
Zelda games.
play.
It only made me buy a whole
Wait,
fucking
it's not on.
Switch.
It's not on screen right now, Jesse.
Every Zelda fan knows there are the main Zelda games and there's all the side Zelda shit. This is not one of the main games. This is a Link's Awakening.
I think it is. I think it is because this one has.
I don't think so.
This has Ganon.
Yeah, totally. But it's not something they spent 5 years working on to release to be the next Legend of Zelda
We don't
title.
know that what they did with this one.
That's fair.
But all these side Zelda games don't feature Ganon. I mean, Ganon's Shadow was featured in Link's Awakening,
Yeah.
but we all knew that was a continuation after Link to the Past.
Yeah.
In terms of all that,
I don't know. I'll play it, but I'm going into it thinking like this is more like a Legend of Zelda Special Edition 3D.
I am playing
or
this with
some
hatred.
shit. Yeah. And all the fanboys got excited because next year we're getting Metroid Prime 4, which everybody's been waiting for. And
That's gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to play that game and be so mad I throw my controller at the television. I cannot wait to be so frustrated by Metroid Prime 4. I smash the shit out of the children that live next door, and I go and I burn in hell.
Oh,
I cannot wait
cool.
for Metroid Prime 4 to make me so angry that the thing I was looking for was actually at the beginning of the game. I just had to jump up in the back corner and drop a bomb there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play Metroid Prime 4.
Why do you not know how to play Metroid yet, James?
You know, I've been playing Metroid now for like 40 fucking years, and every Metroid game I played: Metroid, Metroid 2, Metroid, Super Metroid,
Mm-hmm.
Metroid 64 or whatever it came out was sucked, and then
There wasn't a 64 version of Metroid.
okay, good.
Prime 1 was a GameCube.
Yeah.
And then it was Prime 1 was really exciting because it was like, how do we make it still Metroid but update it? And I think they did a really good job with going back and forth between the first person and third person.
Yep.
And Metroid Prime was really great. And then the new Metroid Prime game that came out, or the new Metroid game that came out not too long ago,
Right.
was really good. But it was just like Metroid Prime, just like Super Metroid, where it was unfucking questionably hard.
I know what you're talking about.
mean spirited in its how difficult it was. Like where it was like it wanted you to fail and laugh at you.
Oh yeah.
So
I have no idea what you're talking about. I did the bomb skip tricks. I did all the stuff.
Oh
that you can do in that game.
I died so much in that game. It makes Groundhog's Day the backstory to Groundhog Day look like bullshit. Look like bullshit. Like
Well,
I died so much. My Samus gave up on life so long ago. Like
Well, they
it's just going through the motions.
that trailer for the new Zelda game that made me excited. I actually love kind of miss that old
There's
stuff.
more to it than that too. So you
I'll have
go
to check
and watch
it
it because it checks out what
It
it checks
looks
out
good.
what you're
It
doing with
looks
Zelda
good.
the entire time, how she fights.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna be back next week for episode 5 of the Arclight Theater.
Because they promise us.
Arclight
They
Theater.
promise
Star
us
Wars
that it's
Arclight.
the episode we'll be talking about. Not that we're not talking about the
Yeah.
first 4 episodes.
We'll see. Until next time, I am Phat J Walker.
I am again whatever name is below me,
Matt
which
Matt
right now is
Binks.
Matt. It's Matt Binks right now, but it might go back to Dan next week.
You never know.
Yeah. I'm Dot the Ginger.